Do y'all ever wake up in your hab and look at your inventory and think, man, I wish I had more stuff? Would you like to take it from empty pages all the way up to completely full and overflowing with ammo, armor, as well as other utilities? Do you want your bank account to shoot up with very minimal effort? Well, this is the video for you. Hey everybody, I'm Hyper, and today I'm going to show you how to go from a complete beginner all the way up to a loot master in Star Citizen. Just follow along and you'll be a pro in no time. So the first thing I recommend doing is setting your spawn to somewhere in the Microtech system. That is because Microtech has the biggest contract availability out of any of the systems currently, and it is the easiest to navigate, especially if you're on New Babbage. So if you're a new player, I definitely recommend choosing New Babbage. And if you're a player that's been playing for a while, you don't have to do New Babbage. You could do it anywhere, but this is just maximizing your efficiency for making money and finding contracts that have a lot of bodies that you can loot. So now that we're in New Babbage, we need a couple things to get started. I recommend having at least an AR with at least one magazine in it, as well as having a tractor beam with a multi-tool. They're not required, but it'll make it a lot easier, especially if you're a new player. You need to have that weapon in order to get enemies killed and grab even more stuff from them. Now, I will show you that you can get this multi-tool pretty much anywhere. There's a Cal 2 station, or you can go to the cargo area in any port that has one and buy it at one of the kiosks there. You're looking for the Pyro RYT multi-tool as well as the True Hole Tractor Beam attachment. And once you have those, they come in so handy for a million different things. And I'll show you later on in the video how. Again, they're not required. If you don't have the money starting out, you can just do this, but at the very bare minimum, I would say have at least a pistol so you could take down a couple enemies and then start looting up from there. Overall, if you're a new player, I recommend just going to your nearest Cal 2 station and just buying a weapon there if you have the money and the multi-tool there, because it's all in one spot, and anytime you respawn, you'll be able to just go and get everything you need for whatever mission you're doing right off the bat. Now, once you have your multi-tool and your True Hold attachment, all you got to do is press I to open up your inventory, go to the utility tab, and then just drag the Pyrorite onto your hip and drag the True Hold attachment onto the allocated slot for it right there, and it is ready to go. Here you can also add the rest of your gear, such as your weapons, your ammo, and all that other good stuff. I also recommend grabbing a few Hemazol med pens before you go, because we definitely will be fighting. There's a good chance you will get hit, and that will keep you alive. Also, don't forget a helmet. I can't tell you how many times I see people forget helmets, especially if they're going to places where these contracts are. Sometimes they're on moons without atmospheres, or in their places with caustic and hot environments, and you will die. So definitely make sure you have a helmet. Now that we have our starting gear, we need to make our way over to the spaceport, wherever that may be for your location. Considering we're in Microtech, we're going to be going to the New Babbage Interstellar Spaceport. And yeah, you just follow the signs on the metro and you'll get there pretty quickly. Once you get there, go ahead and head over to the kiosks, the terminals for calling in your ships. And I'm going to be using a very small ship for this, the 125A. I'm choosing this for this video because I want to prove to you guys that you can do this with any ship, really, even if it has a tiny amount of storage, at least for the beginning. And for you beginners out there, make sure that while you're waiting for your ship, if you gotta wait for it, go across the side and head over to the food and refreshment kiosk by the luxury rentals. You can grab some water here, you can grab some granola bars and some other stuff, just to make sure that your character stays hydrated and they have the nutrients they need to keep on going. Otherwise, you might faint or, worse, die while you're out there in the field. Now that we have our ship, we can go ahead and hop inside. And when we do that, I want you to press I to open up your inventory. You're going to notice that once we open up our inventory and we're in our ship, we're going to have a few different tabs pop up. On the left, we're going to have our vehicles tab, and on the right, we're going to have what's called local tab. This is all the stuff you have stored at this location. Most local storages are at places like non-bunker outside areas, as well as armistice zones, and you can store a ton of stuff in them and drag them and drop them between your personal store, your vehicle, as well as your local storage yourself. And we're going to be using this later on in the video to get tons amount of loot moved from the local to our ship and then into another local that would be your spawn point. Now, primarily we're going to be working in the mercenary and the investigation categories. Now, every time you log in, you're going to want to accept the call to arms contract. And this is basically a contract that just is mobilizing a civilian defense force so you can get paid out for helping them clean up the galaxy of criminals. You get 500 UEC per outlaw dealt with, so it really adds up. And some of these missions, like the supply depot ones or the 15k bunker one, you can kill 40, 50 dudes. That's like a $20,000, $25,000 payout, so it's definitely worth it. So always accept that. The next thing we're going to be looking for is a $34,000 contract under investigation. We don't see it right here, but I'll show you a clip. And then in mercenary, we're looking specifically for the security contractor assessment, and we're also looking for the 10 and 15k bunker missions, and I'll explain what those are as we get to them. Now, the first thing you want to accept is the security work assessment, and this is because it'll unlock the higher tiers like the other 10 and 15k missions, as well as the 30k and 45k missions for mercenary, where you get a lot of enemies that you can loot like crazy. And this first one is a perfect copy of the 10k work assessment that you'll unlock after doing this. And basically, you just go to a bunker on Microtech or one of the moons or wherever you're doing it, and you help the local on-site security kill 10 of the outlaws that are there, and they drop really cool rare stuff. And then you'll get to the 15k missions after that, and that's where you can really start getting a ton of loot. Very easy stuff. And this is also where we're going to get our first set of armor and our upgraded weapons and the ammo, as well as loot boxes, which are really nice. So after we get there, just land and head to the elevator. From here, you're going to see that at the top right, we have a mission counter, and it says 7 out of 10 enemies. Sometimes NPCs help you, sometimes they don't, but we're just going to run around making sure we defeat all the bad guys. Make sure you don't shoot the security personnel, or you will fail this and get a crime stat. Anyways, we're just going to walk around shooting the bad guys, and after all of those guys are dead, we will be able to actually start the looting. Now, if you're exploring these bunkers, you're going to notice they have a really high chance of spawning these loot boxes. They look like this gray box right here, and they typically have stuff that's hard to find around. There, I have a paramed device, and that is amazing. It is like a mobile medic that you keep in your pocket. Keep those on you as much as you can. They'll help out a ton, especially on the later missions. And then the other ones we're looking for are red boxes. The red boxes typically have more rare loot in them. And that's usually like rare armor, rare weapons, like stuff with cool skins on it. Whereas the gray boxes typically have stuff that's of utility to you, like lesser weapons, some ammo, and like sustenance stuff like that. And all of these have random spawns, so you can find them in a bunch of different spaces while you're searching through these bunkers. I do recommend after you clear them out, at least on the 10k missions, you take some time to look around and see if you can find all of them. Now, once you've found the body that you want to loot, all you want to do is press F to loot that body. And instead of just drag and dropping each thing individually, we're going to the bottom right and we're going to click the swap view button. Now we got our first set of armor straight away after completing this first mission. We're just going to click everything and it'll automatically transfer the armor pieces and all of the equipment attached to it into our inventory. And we're ready to go to the next mission. Now, once we've completed that first mission, we'll have unlocked the other mercenary missions. Now, the next one on the list is the 15k mission. They are known as the defend location missions. You go to the same exact data centers, except this time, instead of helping the security defend it, you're going to be looking for a code, and you're going to be fighting off waves of enemies while you try and retrieve some special items in there. We're not going to worry about the objective of retrieving the items or finding the code. This is strictly for looting. We're going to go and we're going to be able to get an infinite amount of loot here because the enemies don't stop spawning once you're in there. They'll just keep coming and coming and coming. And on top of that, you're going to have very special enemies in there. They're the heavy armor enemies, where you can get a complete suit of heavy armor as well as one of the largest backpacks, if not the largest in the game, super easily. This is also the way you get other rare items like Nerf guns. So if you guys are looking for those, this is a good place to get them. Now this is the point where the tractor beam comes into play. When we have the tractor beam, we could aim at a body at a distance, grab it, and bring it towards us without exposing us to more enemy gunfire. This is going to be key since the enemies here do not stop spawning. You're going to be wanting to find some cover, being able to grab the enemies from a distance while you maintain your cover, and pulling them to where they can be looted by you safely. And as you can see, all I did was get my tractor beam out, switch it to tractor, pick up the body, and move it to a safe spot. And you can just do this over and over and over again as the enemies just keep on coming. Now, you're going to notice that you don't have any more space to pick up more gear on your personal inventory. And this location does not have a local inventory because it's an enemy trespassing area. You don't get to have a local stash there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all these bodies back up the elevator. And we can do this as many times as we want. And we're going to take all those bodies back to our ship. Now, once we're back on our ship, all we got to do is press F to loot. And once we do that, you're going to notice that we can press the open inventory button arrow, and we'll have our vehicle, personal, and external inventory. Now, select vehicle, grab the undersuit from the enemy you're looting, and all of his gear is now in your vehicle. It's a really good way to loot things if you don't have a self-storage box or if there's not a local inventory in the area. And once you have all your gear loaded up, you can go ahead and take that stuff up to the nearest spaceport or your home base. And just as a quick tip, if you're making runs to and from the surface of a planet to your port, you do not have to land inside a landing bay or a hangar to access your local inventory. All you have to do is get within range. Typically it's like 5 or 6 kilometers. Once you're in that range, you can just hop out of your pilot seat, make sure your engines are turned off, of course, and you can open the local inventory there, and you could just keep going up and down without having to waste all that time landing and taking off and all the other stuff you would do otherwise. This works for all local inventories. Now that we've covered the beginning basics and intermediate ways of looting in Star Citizen, we can move on to the advanced looting, and this is going to involve using the tractor beam and things known as self-storage boxes, as well as a larger ship. It doesn't have to be a larger ship, but we will be utilizing the self-storage boxes because aside from your ship's internal inventory, it can also carry these boxes which have a massive inventory in them individually. Now, if you want to get the self-storage box, what you're going to need to do is go to your nearest cargo area or a place on a main city that sells them as well. Once you go there, you're going to want to get to the terminal and search for a self-store box. And once you do, go ahead and buy them. Make sure they're small enough to fit on your ship. And if you have a large ship, make sure you buy the largest ones. That way you're not, having to do this with a million different boxes, just to keep things easy for you. Once you purchase them, go ahead and go to your ship in the hangar, and there you'll be able to use your tractor beam. Once you're there, open your inventory, go to the other tab, and you're going to notice that they are in your other tab. If you want to drop them, you're going to have to be standing in your ship. It's a bit janky, I know, but you right click the box, you click drop, and it will drop either near you in the ship or on the ship roof or through the floor. Once that happens, use your tractor beam, pick up the box, and go ahead and put it in your cargo storage on your ship. After that, we are going to take up a contract, and it is the investigation contract. It's the one for 34,000, and it's going to be whereabouts unknown. And this is one that allows you to get a ton of ammo and weapons very easily because it spawns 30 to 40 enemies, and you can kill all of them and loot them, and it has a local inventory. That's the biggest thing, is it has a local inventory, and using the self-store boxes and the local inventory, you can literally take out entire ship loads in very short amounts of time and make runs up and down from the space station or wherever you want to go, and absolutely fill up your inventories at every location by using this method. Once you go there, you're going to want to land. Be careful, there are a lot of players, the high traffic area, some of them aren't so friendly, but for the most part, I haven't really run into any issues. You could also complete the contract, gives you 34,000 credits, which is pretty damn good, so don't miss up on finding that body once you're there. Anyways, once you clear out the whole building, they won't spawn anymore, and you'll be free to loot to your heart's content. Now, what you're going to want to do is go to a body, loot the body like you normally would, and open the inventory arrow at the top right. Once you do that, you can open up local, and you could just drag their undersuit into local. It'll put all their gear in there as well, and then you just pick up their weapons or whatever else is on the ground nearby, and you will be able to loot 30 to 40 bodies in a matter of minutes. And once that's done, all you have to do is head back to your ship, stand on your ship, grab your self-store cargo boxes out, and you open their inventory, and you can just drop everything from the bodies in the local into the self-store boxes. Once the self-store boxes are full, load them into your ship, and you can take them up to wherever you want to take them to. If you get the glitch that shows that your storage box has infinite cargo and you can't add anything to it, all you have to do is close it, open it again, and before the UI loads the items inside, press I to close it, and then it will work. Now, once you get to the destination of where you want to sell this gear, you want to grab your self-storage box and drag it into the local inventory. Once it's in the local inventory, you need to head to wherever you can buy self-storage boxes. Here in Port Tressler, we bought ours at the cargo area, so we're going to head there and head to the terminal. Once we get to the terminal, all we have to do is find the item self-storage box of the right size inside the store under the sell tab. Make sure the sell tab is selected, find that box, and after you do, don't quick sell it. Do not quick sell it because you'll only sell it for the value of the box. What you want to do is go down, select it, and in the bottom right, click sell. And under that menu, give it a second to load, and you're going to notice all of the contents of the box are going to be listed there with check marks. And that is going to tell you the full sell value of the box, including all of the items inside of it. And you can bulk sell all of your items without having to do them one by one. And you can see this is one SCU storage box that we just sold, and I made a profit of over 80,000 credits. So this is a great way of making money. So you get $45,000 from going to do the investigation mission, and then you sell all the loot in one storage box, and you get more than one from each run, and you get around $80,000 on top of that. So you're going to be pushing out like $400,000, $500,000 an hour if you do this in the most efficient ways you can. Anyways, guys, that was the ultimate guide to looting and selling loot in Star Citizen. So I hope you guys learned something and it helped you out, whether you're a new player or a professional. There's something to be learned all the time, and hopefully it just keeps enhancing your gameplay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for other videos in Star Citizen and other games, and keep looking out for my charity streams. Now, June is PTSD Awareness Month, something that's close to home as a veteran myself, so stay tuned for some of those streams so we can raise some money for charity. I appreciate you all so much, and I can't wait to catch you guys in the next video. Until then, peace.